everybody on Zoom land. We are getting most of our folks to sit down right with you so we can start. Okay, we're gonna get started. So find a seat. This sign in is just if you would like to be on the list. But you guys are here.
Just putting a comment. Very good. Sorry.
Okay. I'm holding this microphone not so you can hear me better, but so the people on Zoom can hear what we're going to be listening to today. We have Amy Thompson here to talk about recycling in Oregon, things that have changed since the last time she came, which is like almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
So this event is coordinated by the Hatfield Marine Science Center Green Team, which is a ragtag group of all kinds of folks who are interested in environmental sustainability on this campus and in this community, at home, at work. And everyone is invited, and you can all consider yourselves a member of the Green Team if you like. We do have meetings on the first Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. via Zoom. You're welcome to join us, and all you have to do is go to the Green Team website, which is hmsc.oregonstate.edu/green-team to find the website. And all the Zoom links are there for those meetings and things that we've been doing. So check it out. And I have some more information up here if you'd like to see it at the end of the talk. I'm very excited to have Amy here from Thompson Sanitary Service. She is our go-to person for all our questions. And I don't know if you had the same experience when I see her in public. I'm like, what about this? What can I do? So I'm always having questions. And so having her here to answer all our questions and just give us an update on all the changes. We've had a lot of changes to what we can and can't put in our bins. So I'm very glad for you all to be here, and
thank you.
Thanks so much.
I always love and come talk to you guys. You are always very educated, and I get awesome questions. So I'm expecting awesome questions afterwards. I also wanted to put a plug in for Green Team because the county approached me wanting to do kind of the same thing. And I said, you need to talk to Kate because she's an expert at this. And they're trying to replicate that at the county, which is really awesome. And I think the aquarium is the only other place in town that has a Green Team. So thank you. We appreciate you. And there have been a lot of changes. And for us in the waste industry, the last 5 years we've seen so many changes. Like it's astounding how many different things that we're working on right now. I don't know if any of you know, but right now there's a lot of food waste legislation, and there's battery legislation. And I think there were 19 bills in the long session last year that had to do with waste. So and there's going to be probably a battery one for the short session. So it's a lot for us to keep track of and stay on top of. Luckily, I was asked to be on the state rulemaking committee in the second rulemaking for the Recycling Modernization Act. And so I was one of 2 haulers that represented the state, and I was nominated for the rural hauler. So because we have a lot of different issues than the metro hauler, for instance, or Eugene or things like that. So I'm really excited to talk about this. I could probably talk about it for more than an hour because there's a lot of things, but I will try to get all the important things about it. The 3 things that I want you to come away with today are really that the purpose of this was to create a statewide list that would be the same no matter where you go in Oregon. The second thing is that there's a big producer responsibility component. So the people that are making the packaging are paying into this to make it work. And the third is responsible end markets. So that means that whatever we're collecting for recycling, it is going to a responsible end market regionally most of the time. If it is going overseas, they have to do a lot of paperwork and get approved by Oregon DEQ to be a responsible end market. And it's been challenging because it's a business, it's a big business. And there's a lot of like, well, I sell to this particular one, and I don't want you to know that I'm selling to this one because I don't want you to sell to them, or I don't want you to affect my price. So it's been a little bit challenging, and they've had to come up with some creative things so that, like putting into a database that no one else sees except for the one person that's approving it, basically. So There's a lot of challenges. The Recycling Modernization Act was passed in 2021, August of 2021. It was signed into law and it went into effect July 2025. So there was two rulemaking sessions, and there's actually going to be a third, another one coming up to address some things that, let's see here, to address some things that aren't working. So there we go. So I just always like to cover this just so we know how much waste we're creating. And I put a whale because I know you guys could relate to that. So this is a semi-trailer of waste. Just to give you an idea, we usually have 2 to 3 of those leaving Newport every day to the landfill. So, and they weigh the same as the gray whale up there. So I believe that's, yeah. So just to give you an idea, that's what's leaving Newport. In the summer, it's for sure 3 a day. So, and that's the Coffin Butte landfill. So all the waste that we collect here leaves the county: recycling, compost, landfill. And we're set up to have regional landfills so that they're monitored at a higher level because it takes a lot of money to operate a landfill and make sure they meet all the environmental requirements. So just to give you an idea, from 1960 to here, the per person per day has gone up from like a little over 2 or a little less than 2 pounds to we're almost to 5 pounds per person per day, national average for the United States. So that's a huge increase. You'll see a couple blips here, and that's because of technology. It's also fast food. It's consumerism. It's a lot more clothes. People are not wearing their clothes over and over again. So there's a lot of different things that have changed over the years that have made that increase. It's also, I mean, some of it's the plastic waste from our grocery stores as well. Like if you see pictures of grocery stores from the 1970s, looks a lot different today. No plastic really to speak of. Yeah.
What does MSW stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry, municipal solid waste. So that's all the waste we create, all of it, including recycling. So that's the total MSW. And then, so this is what we actually recycle. This is a pie chart of what we recycle. So most of it is paper or paperboard. I mean, look at the percentage of plastics. It's very low. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Either they're not recyclable, there's no recycling program for it, or people just throw away because there's a lot of states that don't have recycling like Oregon. So we're fortunate here. Oregon is a leader in recycling. We really are. We're the first state to do a recycling modernization like this. And California will be following, in Colorado, Maine. They've all signed into law, but it hasn't gone into effect yet. There's 6 states now, I believe. Minnesota. Yeah, I'm trying to remember all of them, but they are watching what we're doing and taking notes. When California goes into effect, it will change a lot of what you will see of packaging because they're the 4th largest economy in the world. So, so that'll be very helpful for us. But plastics is there, metals, it's about 12%. Metal, the great thing about it is it's infinitely recyclable. And glass is here, 4.43. So, and then you've got some other, but it's very overwhelmingly paper and paperboard. So just to give you some history, the bottle bill, 1971, we were the first in the United States to have that. There are still states today that are replicating the bottle bill because they find it effective. I think we're at about a 92% rate of recycling right now when we upped it to 10 cents instead of 5 cents. So the redemption is high, which is great. And bottle drop works really well. And that is a whole separate program. It's a state law, but it's run by the Oregon Beverage Coalition. And they take care of all the bottle drop. We have nothing to do with that. Anything that we collect in our recycling bins that are beverage containers are not counted for redemption, but they do get recycled. So 1983, we had the Opportunity to Recycle Act, which means that everyone should have an opportunity to recycle. So every year, I report to the city of Newport and the county about all the things we've done for education so that they know about their opportunity to recycle. And there's a lot of things outlined in there. And every year, that paperwork changes, or the report that I have to file, and it's usually about 12 to 14 pages of evidence of what we have done to make sure we're reaching our public. And we do that for the city of Newport as part of our franchise contract, which is the case for most cities in the state of Oregon. The bigger cities like Portland, they have their own recycling department. They have their own recycling educators. Washington County has their own recycling educators. So does Lane County. So there's a couple that are like that, but for the most part, it's haulers that are doing all the education. And then in 2021 is the Recycling Modernization and Plastic Pollution Act. And I do have, I feel like I have flyers on this, I'll have to look, but this is on the DEQ's website, but this kind of tells you what the purpose of it is for. And it came about because of the global recycling crisis. So I've been here to talk about that before, but that was 2018 when our recycling markets were exposed. We really had no idea that what we were sending to our recycling facilities was being sold to China and not getting recycled and being either not properly disposed of, or there's a lot of mom and pop recyclers where they're doing it themselves, and it led to a lot of problems, and environmentally and health for their population. So that's where this came in. It really exposed the global recycling crisis. I don't know if any of you have seen this. If you have a chance to see this, it is very eye-opening about the story of plastic and big oil, what their role in this as well. But do something happy afterwards, because it's a lot. It's very heavy, and it talks about the impact environmentally and health-wise to a lot of Asian countries, mainly, is who is suffering from this. And it's not just the waste that we're selling to them, but it's also what's being sold to them, like through the sachets. I don't know if you've heard that word, but that's a really big kind of way that they like to sell food in Asia. And it's changed. They used to just take their own bags and there'd be piles of spices. And now it's almost all sachets and these little, one-time use kind of things. And that has changed their culture. So, so this is a little bit of a timeline, but the National Sword, which is the international recycling crisis, those were the disruptions, and that changed a lot for us. And then began the Oregon Recycling Steering Committee, and who started this whole idea, like, we need to redo this. And it was made up of government, private haulers, private recycling facilities, and also like public government. So like DEQ is obviously, we work really closely to DEQ, and I have to tell you that this situation that has made our relationship better with Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, because we really laid it all out on the table together and said, we are all not happy with this. So what can we do and make it work? Because there's a lot of things in our industry, business-wise, that they weren't aware of. So we really tried to find practical solutions, and we really are the envy of most of the states, because we work so well together. And like I just went to a regional meeting for California, Oregon, and Washington, and they are continually asking us questions. How do you guys bring everybody to the table like this? And we're like, it's just the way Oregon does it. Like, it's just the way we do it. And I'm really proud of that. So, so then the signed into law and implementation began. And then, so the big part is extended producer responsibility. So, when you look at all the shelves in the marketplace and you kind of decide, where is all this stuff going? There's not a ton of plastics here, but this is about the only grocery aisle clip art I could find. But, there some things you just don't have a choice in to buy in plastic. You have to. Like if you want to buy berries in December, there's just really no other way to buy them but in plastic. So We're hoping that the extended producer responsibility portion of this will change how our grocery aisles will start to look, because they have a financial obligation in all of this. And there's an eco-modulation fee. And this is the part that I was part of the rulemaking for, and it has 7 different factors on how we figure out their fee. And I'll have to get them updated, but a lot of them are like your carbon footprint, the overall environmental footprint, the plastic footprint. I'm trying to remember all of them, but DEQ comes up with a fee that they assess based on each one of their packaging things. So they have an incentive, if they make them better, that they don't have to pay as much. So that's where California is going to come into effect, because right now they're not changing anything for Oregon. I'll just be honest with you. Like, we don't sell enough here. But when other states come on, and California, we're hoping that what we wrote into law is actually going to make a difference. It'll be enough for them to change, instead of just accepting the fees and paying them and doing whatever they want. So we do have the ability to go and revisit the law. So if for some reason it's not changing like we want to, we can try to make it better. So this is the main updates you'll see you're seeing to recycling. So it started in July. Expanded recycling services statewide. So there's a lot of communities that don't have curbside recycling. Roseburg, Pendleton, they're all bigger than us. So in some ways we felt like we got punished a little bit, because they get all of their bins paid for and maybe a new truck or two. But we already did those things. So, but we feel good that we did the right thing a long time ago. In 2007 is when we modernized our curbside recycling. Before, we had the bins and it was all source separated. And then we went into commingled, and that actually doubled our participation rate. And it also doubled our glass recycling and we even took it off the curb. It just made more people aware of recycling. So it was good, even though sometimes it has some downfalls with mixing it all together. So they are priorities. The places that don't have recycling curbside. There's the statewide collection list is what we refer to as the USCL. And that is the flyer that I have right here. So there's a flyer, and it is the same everywhere. So we're taking, I'll go through that in a little bit, but it means that we're all taking the same thing, and anywhere you go in Oregon should be that. So we also are doing education and contamination reduction. So part of the fee is they are creating educational materials for us that we can customize a little bit, and they will pay for. So, and then contamination reduction, we are actually going to get $3 per capita for where we service. And so those plans, I just got all of the documents of how I outline contamination reduction, or what programs are acceptable for me to choose based on what Oregon DEQ lined out. And so I'll be coming up with that plan before the end of the year, because we want to get our money. And also I want to put all these things into place, it's really great for us, because I'm really going to target our multi-tenant population here in Newport. So all of our apartment buildings virtually don't have any recycling education. We try to go to the property managers. The property manager changes every 6 months, or it's just a real disconnect there. So we're really trying to target them first, and commercial recycling, because our residential does a pretty good job, like average of residential customers that recycle. It's our commercial that is very lacking. Like I just recently, a year and a half ago, went to the hospital because we noticed I had a driver. We educated our drivers, and our driver's like, they're only putting cardboard in there. And we're like, what? So I go in there, and we go in the kitchen, and there's, aluminum cans, and there's all this stuff that they could be recycling, and now they are. It's huge. So those are, it just takes time to do that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. And also that we don't have like plastic bags and recycling and all the things that we don't want. So material processing, responsible end market. And that's a big change for the recycling facilities that we haul to, because they have really never had any oversight. They're a separate business, and like us, we have to have a lot of DEQ permits, and they haven't had to have them before. Now they do, and they have to prove where they're sending their stuff, which it's a big lift for them. Just to get people on board too and training, and also they're going to get money to upgrade their recycling facilities. So maybe we'll start to see some robots in there, and just some higher technology that we've seen in really big recycling facilities, like mainly actually in the Midwest, because that's where a lot of manufacturing is. So like Chicago is like one of the biggest recycling facilities. We got to go tour that a couple of years ago, and it's unbelievable. Lots of robots, lots of different technology to separate materials. So, but those cost millions. So they're eventually going to ramp those up. Recycling improvement for multi-tenant. So there's specifically going to be rules for that coming out 2027. But we already kind of know what those issues are. So I'm hoping they're going to come up with even more ideas for us on how to reach them effectively. And then producer involvement. And so those are the parts, the updates to recycling. And it's a shared responsibility system. So Oregon DEQ has oversight over all of this. So it's the producers. And then we have lots of great acronyms, just like I'm sure you guys do in your line of work. But Producer Responsibility Organization is what we refer to as PROs. So the PRO is kind of like the middleman or middle person. The producers pay them, then the PRO pays us. And like we're going to get reimbursement for transportation because we're over 50 miles from a recycling facility. So it'll hopefully level some of the playing field, like some of the metro region. They just haul right to the recycling facility because it's 10 miles away. Ours is not, it's in Salem. And so we're going to get some reimbursements for that. So that'll help. So that's all part of the producer responsibility organization. Is we have all these different now portals that we're all learning about how to get reimbursed for these things. So education, transportation reimbursement. We're going to be getting reimbursed for glass, which we've never been paid for glass. We pay to get rid of it. And same with recycling. We pay about $68 a ton to get rid of recycling. And hopefully that is going to be going down to zero. So, and then we'll get also reimbursed for our transportation. So we're looking forward to a lot of those. We've already submitted reimbursements since July, but we haven't seen anything yet. But I think it's just a lot of things going on that they're figuring out how it's all going to work and and getting everyone paid. So, and we are the service providers. And then the local government comes into it in the fact that they're overseeing that we're doing it the right way. So we have to report to our city council, to the county about what fees or what we already do this when annual rate review for us in April happens, April, May. And we lay out all of our expenses. They see all of our books, but now we'll have a separate report for the Recycling Modernization Act and what we got reimbursed for, what we got paid for. And we're hoping it stabilizes rates. That's our big hope, that it's not a huge increase, if anything, because everything has been inflated lately. The last truck that we just got was $450,000. It has increased since COVID. So we bought a truck right after COVID that was $350,000 for the same kind of truck. And so they have gone up exponentially. And there's a lot of emission standards, and now we're not sure what's happening there. And so we'd like to get an electric truck, but those are $1 million. And then to make sure that we have enough juice to service for a whole day and then put in a charger. So, and there was grant funding for that and now there's none. So I'm not sure where we're at there, just to give you a little sidebar on our, how it affects our industry too, you know, because that's where we were all amping up towards. So, or a hydrogen fuel. So the local government oversees everything that we're doing, and they're really ultimately responsible from Oregon DEQ that all this is happening. So if they're seeing that we're not doing what we're supposed to, they're supposed to crack down on us and then, you know, and then report to DEQ. So there's a multiple layer here. And then recycling facilities working all together, and then the responsible end markets. I hope it's not in ships, but most of our markets that I've seen, except for some of the plastics, are local, are regional, like Idaho and Washington and British Columbia. Well, there are quite a few plastics going to British Columbia. So, but we're now able to see all those end markets that I wasn't able to see before. I just had to take the word of the recycling facility. So required for local governments. So these are all the things that they have to do to make sure that we're meeting all of our goals. So we will also have more depot items coming, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, where you can drop off additional things that are not in the curbside container. They have to make sure that materials are going to approved processors. All these things are things that the local governments have to do. And check that box. You know, this is the minimum is monthly, you know, obviously we do it weekly because our customers need it. And then there's also, so this is also going to be something new, the contamination reduction programs, where we get the $3 per capita, but we also will get with that contamination assessments at our transfer station, which we've only had one ever done by Oregon DEQ, to know if we're doing a good job, how much contamination we have. And I think they did it for the whole state, and everyone was surprised at how bad it was. It was 16% contamination. And there are rules in the new Recycling Act that we want to get to 6. So we have a long way to go. And there was different areas had different problems, and the coast overwhelmingly had a problem with bagging its recyclables. And do you guys have an idea why? Maybe why do we? Because it's windy. So everyone wanted to put them in their plastic bags and put them in the recycling container so they wouldn't blow all over the place. So that is something that we're going to focus a lot of our recycling education on. So this is the new recycling guide. This is half of it. So plastics, I'm sure as a lot of you know, they add tubs, which is included like this, and buckets and rigid plant pots. So those are all new. It used to just be bottles after the recycling crisis. So only if they can screw on. See that container right there that has a lid like that? You have to take off the lid, throw away the lid, and just recycle the bottom part of it, because in the recycling process, that will jam up the machines. The lid will come off. So that maybe is something that technology will get better at. And they have to be at the minimum 2 inches by 2 inches. So like no prescription bottles is the big question. Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So we take the lid off, that goes in regular, it kind of goes back into recycling, put it off.
Yeah. The tub container itself can go in recycling, and the lid will go in garbage. Yeah, for right now, but we're gonna have a solution for that. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like the orange juice container,
Yeah.
do you want us to put the top back on, or can we have them separate?
If you want to put the lid in there, as long as it screws on, it has to go on the container,
Okay,
because
so it can't go individual.
it's too small.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the 2 inches by 2 inches is because of the equipment that it has to go through, conveyor belts, all sorts of stuff, and it will jam it up. The prescription bottles we know is a huge issue. There's so many of them, but we're hoping that we're going to see that as a depot item. So yeah,
You might want to put in there, just, put top back on. So just so people.
cap's okay if screwed on. Yeah, you know what's interesting about this? I was telling Kate. So I've kind of, okay, so originally it said round containers when they debuted. So this was produced by this new Recycle On that you'll see a lot of billboards, all that kind of stuff. It said round containers. And I emailed him back right away and I said, nope, not good enough. Because what about this tub that's a butter that's square? And we went, I mean, we debated a lot, and I wanted numbers too, because that's how I've educated our people. And so we compromised with tubs. And now that's changed for the state of Oregon, because now anything that is a tub could be round or square, but all those things are recyclable. And they don't want to put numbers because they don't want people to look at numbers. But to me, it's just one more thing that's helpful. But in general, all the tubs are those numbers anyway. But some people just really want to make sure. And so I published a flyer in our bills, and it had this on one side, and then I put a different description on this second side, and they wouldn't pay for my second half because I had numbers in it, and I was like, oh, well, I'll pay $156, whatever. So, yeah.
So the clamshell containers, are those considered tubs or buckets? No, those are not recyclable.
Yeah, they're the worst kind of plastic ever. No one wants them.
No, they're.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Somebody was wondering about clamshell containers. So, like, really, what berries come in?
Yeah.
Lots of things come in. They are not accepted curbside. No recycling facilities can sell them to any market. No one wants them. It's like bad. When they recycle it, it kind of almost disintegrates.
Even though it's a number one.
Yeah. And all those numbers are put on by the producers of that packaging, and they don't consult us at all. Yeah, they want it to look good, that this is
No
recyclable.
real standardization with the number ones, number twos, or whatever.
No, we were hoping for federal legislation after all the Recycling Modernization Act, but that's on hold right now. So we're hoping that will become, same with compostable products, because that's a whole nother issue. So yeah, yes.
Okay, I know this could be opening up a can of worms, but how are the medical facilities, which they have so much waste?
Yeah.
How are they working with your industry or the state of Oregon?
So they got some exemptions because of life-saving equipment. Yeah, so if any of their stuff falls within what's recyclable curbside, then they should recycle it. I mean, really, it's advantageous for them because they pay on their garbage service. So if they have a smaller garbage container, because they put more in their recycling, it would be worth their while. So the local hospital is trying to recycle as much as possible, and it mainly comes out of their kitchen for that part. But like surgical stuff, some of that stuff can't be recycled because it has to be burned. It is hazardous waste, bio waste, and so
But
and there's
are the
special laws.
Industry working towards developing plastics and so that if like the medicine bottles can be
Oh,
recycled. I mean, we need a new administration, what's gonna happen?
Yes.
I know they feel the pressure. I do know that from consumers. But like with the medicine bottles, it's by far the cheapest. It's by far, and the one thing that plastics also has going for it is to transport all that has a lower carbon footprint than glass. Glass is so heavy. So it really is, it's a conundrum, really, like what is actually best for the environment, right?
Seems like it could be done in some kind of envelopes.
Well, maybe. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people coming up with new packaging ideas because not all consumers want it, but also there's more laws like this coming online. But some things are just like to make it affordable for everyone, and where they're made, they're being transported so far that so if you have something locally made, like you get like the glass milk from Oceania, right? Those are local dairy farms. So it makes a little bit more sense to transport it by glass because then they also collect the bottles for reuse. So it's a whole circular economy idea too. Like we should have refillable bottles probably would be the best idea. But we're a long way from that. This was a heavy lift. And it unfortunately just so many people involved and to write the law so people can't get out of it too, right? So it's very, very lot more difficult than I thought. But yeah, aluminum and steel cans and scrap metal are pretty similar. The thing that we took off is aluminum foil. And I'll tell you why is because they did a bunch of studies about it being recycled and it was being put with all the other metal and it's such a high heat, it just poof, goes away. It disappears. So it's really not being recycled. So what we're going to be doing is collecting it separately at the depot. But that doesn't start till 2027, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's why it was taken off. And then, because we really revamped the whole system and looked at actually what was working. And then the big addition here is the cartons. So soup cartons, milk cartons, anything like with prepackaged liquid carton can go in recycling now. And that goes to a plant in Washington.
Even if it has wax on.
Yes, but not frozen food containers. I know it's not because that's coated in plastic. Yeah, the wax is much more it doesn't contaminate the paperboard as much. Yeah. Screw on lids. Yep. Yep. Well, you know what? That's a good question. It shows them without. Probably not, because that plastic is just going to get burned off in the process. That's a good question. No one's asked me that yet. Good job. Yeah, so I would not include lids, just because I know the process and that it really is that little plastic, they're letting it go. And then nothing has changed here at all. It's always been non-metallic gift wrap. A lot of people don't pay attention to that, but it's very important. And it's really hard to find too. I don't know if you, so you have to yeah.
How about hardback?
Yep. No, just paperback books, because the hardback books don't go through the recycling process. They would have to have a major shredder for that. So
Take the hardcover off.
yeah, you could do that for sure. Yeah. And so these are the things that were our top contaminants for us that we found out from DEQ when they did our contamination. So no bagged recyclables, that was a big one. We also really, really want to get the message out. No batteries. No, we've had so many fires. We've had 4 at our transfer station and trucks. We had an entire semi-trailer burned to the ground because of a battery. And it's also vapes, which is a whole nother problem, and they don't separate. So we're working on that with legislators right now, but we are taking batteries we're paying to recycle them because we want them out of the landfill stream, the recycling stream, everything. They're very, they've become a huge problem. The Metro transfer station has 3 fires a day. Yeah. So
Lithium batteries?
yeah, lithium. They're lithium, but we just say no batteries because we can recycle the other ones. We might as well just send them all to a battery recycler. So, yeah, but it's the lithium ones that are causing a huge problem. Yeah, no plastic bags and then no glass. I've had some people think we can include glass because they saw bottles. I'm like, no, no glass and curbside recycling. It's a huge no-no. It contaminates everything. So this is the new DEQ depots that we'll be offering. So this is their flyer, but then I circled. So we already have these things right now that you can recycle at our depot. We've had glass for a long time, and you can do bulky plastic containers. The green is coming early 2027, because again, we are literally the last county to get, one of the last counties to get these depots because we already do really well. Logistically, we're difficult for them, and the population. So the fact that we already have, we recycle everything that Metro recycling stations do, and we have a low population, and then logistically they're trying to figure out how to like create a route to pick us all up. But we will have shredded paper. And the reason we don't have shredded paper in the recycling cart is because when it goes through the all the recycling facility, it explodes and then it becomes mush on the ground basically because it gets wet. So we'll actually collect shredded paper separately. We're going to have polyethylene film. So all the shipping bags, your plastic bags, all of that can be brought to the transfer station. Very happy about that. There's your lids. We'll be doing that. And then PacTech, I don't know if you know that Oregon company, they lobbied hard. So we're going to be collecting those. It'll probably be about the size of that for about a month. That's probably what we'll get, but that's fine. So we'll get that. And then we'll be taking aerosol cans and aluminum foil again, but it'll be a depot items. So there's these two things are already on the list in the red. So pressurized canisters and styrofoam, and they're paused right now. This one is paused because there is no styrofoam recycling facility even remotely close. I think the closest one was Oklahoma. And so it just doesn't make sense right now. So they are kind of regrouping and figuring that out and talking to styrofoam manufacturers about how much they want to pay to recycle their stuff. And then pressurized so maybe that means it'll go away. And then pressurized canisters, we're really logistically having a tough time figuring out how to transport those without blowing up a truck. So,
So pressurized canisters, that's different than, let's say, a spray paint.
Right. Yeah. And so the aerosol cans will have to be completely emptied. Yeah. The pressurized canisters are like what you go camping with. If you have decommissioned them. So there is a tool out there. Like I have a tool for when we go backpacking, it's like, looks like a can opener kind of, and you can do that yourself. And then you can put it in metal recycling. But when we have them there, they haven't been decommissioned. We used to take them and we had a very close call. And so we stopped taking them for the safety of our people. And so I don't know exactly what they're going to do, if they're going to have a decommissioning like process before we get them, but they're highly recyclable after they're decommissioned. So you can get it online. Yeah. I just ordered it through REI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just for the small ones. I wouldn't do it with a propane tank. AmeriGas will decommission some for you, but they might charge you a fee. So, yeah. So those are the depots that are coming up early 2027. And there probably will be more depot items just continually to be added to that. But you can already recycle all these at our recycling depot. And I just wanted to remind everybody, so when I say extended producer responsibility, that is what this whole program is. It means that manufacturers are being responsible for what they make. So paint is part of that kind of same idea. So when you buy a gallon of paint, you pay a fee to have it recycled. We are a paint care facility, which is the organization that oversees that. So we take paint as long as it's in its original containers, paint and stain, and it does get recycled. My dad actually used it for a big project this summer. He helped somebody paint their house with recycled paint, and it was so cheap. I think they painted their whole house for $100 in paint. Yeah. So you can buy it. You can buy it at Habitat for Humanity. We also, e-devices is also part of that extended producer responsibility. So you can drop off electronic devices, and they are expanding that list coming in January. So it'll be more than computers, laptops, TVs, mice, and keyboard. They're going to add some more things to that. And I can't remember exactly what it is right now. But that'll be another webinar I'll have to attend to figure out.
So there is a list
Yes,
for work kit, because I've never understood where the line.
we have it on our website.
Okay.
If you want to go under other recycling,
Yeah.
it'll tell you exactly what that is. And if for some reason, or sometimes like if Hatfield has a whole bunch at the same time, give us a call first so that we can prep for that, because really we're only supposed to take 7 per customer. But we want them to be recycled. We just have to get some more totes. So
Will the centers take shredding paper
the center, the depot, or
there? Yeah,
not yet, early 2027.
we have no place to put shredded stuff.
No, unless we do have a third-party shred service that we contract with, and you can get like a file box and you pay for that and bring it back in and we'll shred it and it's recycled because it's a single stream and they take it right to the recycling facility. So
Sometimes the animal shelter,
oh.
I know in Fairbanks, they would take it for bedding,
And
but you gotta ask. I don't know.
I know Lincoln County does an annual shred day too.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so you can do that too. And then the other, let's see, what else is EPR? I think that's it. But we're also required to take motor oil, and you can actually put that next to your cart if you don't want to bring it out to the depot. But that's one of our DEQ permit requirements from like the 1970s. And we have cooking oil that we've added. Yeah. And and starting November through January, we take Christmas lights. So we have a drop off for that. Mm-hmm.
Amy, we have a question online about now that Rogue is closing, where is our glass drop off going to be?
It's hopefully still going to be there because our deal is with the port. So we have permission from the port that it's there. We just put it at Rogue because they used to make so much beer in glass that it was really convenient for them. And it was a good spot for this part of yeah, we've tried to add a third drop off, but we cannot get anyone to lease land to us. They don't want it because of homeless and the mess. Yeah. So we've worked on that quite a bit, and no one is willing to let us put a glass recycling drop off anywhere. So yeah. So do we have any other questions? Yes.
So, vitamin and supplement bottles that are plastic, some are 2 inches wide, long, but not wide. So could we take them to the recycling center?
Not yet. No, I see them as they're already talking about adding them to depots because some depots have already opened, like Ashland was the first one of the depots that opened. And I've seen talk about adding prescription bottles, but we just haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, but I would think just keep, yeah, I think we'll add it, but I'm just not, sure when.
Does Corvallis have provisions for lids?
They're in the same category as us, so they will early
They will,
2027. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I can look at the list. I was looking at this for Gomberg because he was wondering if all of his constituents were in the same category, and they are. We're all in the same category as being the last. We are F. Yeah, I know.
So we've noticed that in Marion County and I think maybe Dalton, not everyone is doing this, even though we thought they ought to? be?
That is a good question.
So-
That really good question. Because it's a opt-in for the first year. Like if you're ready, and we were ready. We didn't think that we needed bigger carts. We already service recycling once a week. Some people do it every other week, and they were concerned about like adding buckets and all that kind of stuff, whether they were going to need bigger recycling carts, also more trucks, because they'll have to do more routes. But we were like, bring it on, we'll do it right now. And we haven't seen that much of an increase yet, but not everyone knows about this, and we're just trying to get the word out there. But they said, don't think of it like as like a firm starting date. Think of it as a dial. So all this is kind of being dialed in based on how ready they are. If they needed more recycling containers, they have to wait till they get those. Yeah.
One thing what about the new LED light bulbs?
So we are looking into, this is not a part of
Right.
the list, but we're trying to find a place to have those recycled, and make it as part of one of our routes that we already run for like batteries and stuff like that.
What do we do with them now?
They're garbage. We will be moving our recycling facility. Oh, this is pretty big news for us. We'll be moving it inside. And if you've been out to our office and you drive and you look straight at the office, it's going to be to the right in our what we call our Barncraft building. And it's going to be 3 stalls. And you'll be able to drive up, and there'll be a lot more room. And then we'll have more room to add depot items, because we see that there's going to be a lot more depot items coming, and we'll have a recycling attendant. Yes. So that's why we're looking at doing light bulbs too, because now we'll have more room. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I actually do have one.
Yeah, please ask.
Actually, this is not a recycling question, but with all the controversy now about the Coffin Butte
Oh, yeah.
expansion, and all our garbage goes there, is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Are we worried about this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I actually, so to be honest with you, I consider myself an environmentalist, and I have a real problem with closing a landfill that already exists. The plan was to have it be expanded. Like, this is not a new idea. They meet all the DEQ environmental requirements and go above and beyond that by capturing methane. They don't have to do that. They do that, and it powers homes in Corvallis. I'm not sure where, to be honest with you, such a big swell against that. I think it's a lot of people that have good intentions, but maybe don't know all the facts, because it would increase garbage prices so much. We're already trying to figure out what's going to happen when the landfill closes. Like, we're already planning for that, but it takes years to figure out a network system. We'll have to have another transfer station that we haul to, that then would be like a second leg and go to the other closest landfills are either Medford, Dry Creek, or up the gorge at oh, I'm trying to remember, but it's about the same distance. And we are looking from rail, barging, like we're looking at all the options, but it takes a long time to develop those plans. And if they close the landfill early, it would be probably more environmental impact because of all the truck traffic, because we're not ready. And also, it just would move up all those plans instead of maybe scaling it so that you wouldn't pay such a huge fee all at once. Because what we're afraid of is there's already a lot of illegal dumping that happens in Lincoln County. And we've really been trying to crack down on it. And it would just make it a lot worse. And yeah, already people complain about the price to dump, and it's really a lot of because a lot of the environmental requirements, which is great, it's good, but like asbestos and all that kind of thing, there's continually contractors that are trying to get around that, and they hire these contractors, and we don't know where that waste is going, because every landfill has to have paperwork about construction demo material. If they don't, that means it's going somewhere else. Yeah. And we don't want to know where it's going. Yeah. I mean, we already know there's people that take landfill type items, mostly construction demo material, at their property for a smaller fee than we charge. So I don't think people realize that it's kind of a big problem. Yeah, besides all the RVs that are being dumped out there and stuff, but yeah, yeah. And boats are a big problem too. So yeah, because it's expensive to get rid of them. Yeah, and when they stop working, those people aren't able to pay to get rid of them. Yeah, so yeah,
Amy?
so that's a good question because it's going to change a lot. Because to get a so just also with to get a new landfill space open, it takes 10 to 13 years permit process. Yeah. So
And what about fluorescent light bulbs?
we don't have a spot for those right now either. That's yeah, they go in the garbage, unfortunately.
Cinnamon, did you have something?
Yeah, we've got a couple questions online, Amy.
Okay.
Can you clarify around frozen food cardboard?
Yeah. So anything that you buy in the frozen food aisle, so ice cream, Hungry Man dinners, whatever, that cardboard is coated in plastic and cannot be recycled. It has to go in the garbage.
Okay. And then you had said not bagging our recyclables. Can we put them in paper bags to keep them from blowing away?
Yes. Yep. You can put them in paper bags. We also have wind latches available. So all of our new carts that are going out have wind latches. But if you want yours done, just email us, call us, and they cost nothing. Yeah, they're free. So we try to prioritize doing recycling because they're lightweight and they get blown over more easily, and usually garbage is bagged, hopefully. So, and compost usually doesn't tip over. It just depends. But yeah, so wind latches, and they work really well. We've been really happy with them. So
Folks online are agreeing with you, Amy.
okay, good. Yay.
The other question is paper towels recyclable?
Yep. As long as they don't have, I mean, if they have a bunch of food waste on them, then I would put them in compost. But if otherwise, paper towels you can put in recycling.
What about, Kleenex?
No.
That's what
Yeah.
that is a
Good.
hard-
Yes. Yes. No Kleenexes. Kleenexes go in garbage. But yes, good clarification. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, just like no pet waste or of any kind in compost too. We see birds, they can't go in there. Yeah. Like if you have a bird run in your window, it can't go in compost. Yeah. We have animals that have been disposed of in the compost container. Yeah.
So one last question online. For dolls haulers in Toledo and Seal Rock, are the regulations different?
Nope, they're the same. Mhm.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay. Yes.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thank
That was
you.
Very informative, and we really appreciate you coming out here and telling us.
Yeah, and I have magnets up here if you want to take only people that attend my talks get the magnets. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everyone on Zoom for coming. Have a great day.
Thanks, Kate.
As long as I'm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.